Hey, good evening, USA, Canada, International, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, host with the most misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, and rookie podcaster of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you're rocking and hanging out with me on the 244th episode of Off the Meat Rack Chainz New York podcast. Live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube. And aside of myself is the podcast show page, Instagram live feed. Make sure you turn on your notifications on the gram so you can know when I'm going to be on Instagram live on separate podcast show pages, including this one right here. Of course, make sure you follow that page on Instagram here. So, if you miss any new and previous episodes whatsoever, don't worry, I got you back. All you need to do is go ahead and grab that subscribe button for me on the YouTube channel page, G Money Stacks 555. And be sure to tap the naughty bell along with alerts so you can be reminded of when the show goes on the air via live stream, along with the day, the date, and time as reminders of when to watch. Leave a like and a comment along with the episodes and topics being discussed. Stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes, and of course, be sure to listen, stream, watch the episodes in case you miss any of the episodes. Don't worry. And be sure to share the episodes, share the videos, download your favorite episodes, very important. And of course, be sure to share the episodes, share the videos, and of course, tell a friend to another friend. Spread the word. Word of mouth is important, and I will handle where you can actually get to listen to the episodes and stuff. So there you have it right there. And of course, without further ado, if you like to be a supporter, you can go ahead and make a charitable donation to my Cash App, which is $ G Money Stacks 555. That's $G capital G lowercase MONEY capital S lowercase TACKZ 555. Once again, it's not about being from a rich family with trust funds or whatever. You don't need to be from a rich family that has a trust fund. It's all about you being a human being on whatever amount of money you choose to desire of your choice will be appreciated. So don't worry about that one right there. All right. Don't worry about that. So, um, and yes, I like to remind, all right, I like to remind y'all to switch your clocks ahead 1 hour because daylight savings time is approaching this weekend. So don't forget to set your watches, your clocks, everything that you could think of forward to an hour. All right. So you don't miss out on work or anything else in between. So there you have it right there, folks. Um, Now that I got that out the way, I want to actually get into the New York Mass Transit files. Let's do this right now. All right, here we go. Okay, so in transit news, here's what's happening here. Strap hanger advocates have teamed up with the labor union representing transit workers to urge Governor Kathy Hochul and state legislators to invest more in the Metropolitan Transportation Authority in the upcoming state budget, arguing MTA funding should not just financially rescue the teetering authority, but allow it to thrive for New Yorkers. The Rise Alliance, Transport Workers Union Local 100, and progressive elected officials say that Hochul's budget, which calls for using an increase in payroll taxes, agency spending cuts, new city subsidies, and future casino revenues to rescue the MTA from financial calamity, is the bare minimum, and with a small in the grand scheme of things, additional investment could ensure service is not just sufficient but stellar. We have a transit system today that the governor describes as world class, said Queens Assembly member Zoran Mandani, the prime sponsor of the Fix the MTA package at a rally outside Grand Central Terminal on Wednesday. You ask any New Yorker across the five boroughs, they will tell you they are waiting more than 10 minutes for a train. They are on a bus that is going 5 miles per hour. They are at risk of being priced out of one of their most basic human rights, the right to go around their city. Hmm. A $300 million addition to the governor's plan would significantly bolster off-peak subway and bus service. Excuse me. The coalition contends, um, committing just 1.5% of her $227 billion budget to mass transit would allow the MTA to make buses free and ensure subway headways never exceed 6 minutes, they say, while also avoiding a planned fare hike and adjustments in service. We are fighting for these things because we know that they are possible, said Mamdani. It is just a matter of political will. Mamdani maintained that the bolstered service for New Yorkers who ride public transit should come from taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers. If New York raised its corporate tax rate on its budget, no, excuse me, on its biggest businesses from 7.25 to 11.25%, he said the state could generate billions of dollars in new revenue to achieve the goals of the Fix the MTA package while still maintaining a lower top rate than New Jersey. The politically influenced TWU is also all in on bolstered service, worried that service cuts will lead to unsafe situations for workers at the hands of aggrieved passengers. Union President Richard Davis deemed MTA Chief General Lieber, who has expressed support for Hochul's plan, a bumbling idiot en route to crush subway and bus riders. The MTA is proposing service cuts in subways and next day will attack buses. And we have a chairman who is a bumbling idiot. That's the best I can call him, said Davis. General Lieber, he's attacking us. He's crushing us. He's crushing anything that moves and eventually will crush service in the buses and the subways. So I want to stand here today with Riders Alliance to say we will fight against service cuts. We will not stand for service cuts. And how can we get to a 6 minute headway if they are gonna cut service? Both Hochul and Lieber denied that their rescue plan involves any service cuts. Man, that's crazy. Man, listen, this is crazy. I don't know about you, but um, it's crazy, man. Anyway, hold on a minute. Let me see who's in the chat right here. Let me just say hi real quick. Shouts to the Looking Glass podcast crew. Thank you for viewing this. Um, and yeah, that would be crazy. This is crazy. Service cuts, that's not gonna fix the problem, man. That is not gonna fix the problem though, man. You know what I mean? That's gonna have a lot of people angry. Why don't you look me up? Oh no! Yeah. Um. Okay. So. Um. The plan includes $400 million in operating efficiencies identified by the MTA, while in December, the agency announced Monday and Friday service would be slashed on certain lines to make room for expanded service on others. Governor Hochul's executive budget makes transformative investments to make New York more affordable, more livable, and safer, said Hochul spokesperson Katie Zielinski, and she looks forward to working with the legislature on a final budget that meets the needs of all New Yorkers. The governor's office did not take a position on Mamdani's tax proposals. The MTA, meanwhile, contends that most strap hangers already receive 6-minute service. The mission to provide faster, cleaner, safer service is dramatically improving customer satisfaction and will benefit from Governor Hochul's budget that provides relief from looming deficits, said MTA spokesperson Kayla Schultz. Still, 20-minute waits for subways and languishing on the nation's slowest buses remain an all too common experience for New York City's strap hangers. Public advocate Jamani Williams, also who also spoke at the rally, said that the governor's budget had lots of funky line items that could be skimmed to bolster mass transit. Among those were $150 million for a beefed up MTA police, $700 million in tax credits for the film industry, often derided as wasteful and ineffective, and $400 million in loans to prop up the flailing horse racing industry. Ooh, wow. You didn't have to say it like that, but okay, just take between 50 to $100 million from each one of those projects. You'll have the $300 million you need to get our subway moving faster. That's all you have to do, said Williams. Please just skim some off the top. Pretend it's the Buffalo Bills. You want to fund and find the money to fund the MTA. Hmm. Okay. Let's see. Let's see what else we got on the agenda today. Um okay, so let's see. Um Okay, before I even go to chatting on the jazz, let me see who's in the chat here. Let me take a look. JR Media's JR Media's comics. Thank you for listening, for watching this. All right, so let's get into, we got some unfortunate stuff to talk about here. And this involves a passing of one of the members of De La Soul. So here is chatting on the jazz right here, the segment right here. Let's get into it. Okay. As I said before, we got some unfortunate news that we need to get to right here. We got some unfortunate news that we need to get to. Let's get into it right here. Hang on. So Maceo and Post Newells, the two remaining members of the iconic New York hip hop trio De La Soul, have broken their silence on the tragic passing of Trugoy, who died earlier this month at the age of 54. In a post shared to De La Soul's official Instagram page, which included a picture of the group signing their first record deal with Tommy Boy, Maceo wrote, "Dave, thank you so much for being in my life. Although you and I would argue like hell, we would both admit when we were wrong and totally come full circle and say, I love you. I want to truly thank you for having the bird's eye view of our collective vision to be a group." He continued, "Before Trugoy the Dove, I met JD Dove aside being called Dave in 1985. I remember your mom calling you Dove, so you've always had wings. So go on and fly into the light. Merce and I will make sure your legacy is well preserved. We are De La Soul for life and afterlife, but obviously it will never be the same. On one end, I'm happy you no longer have to suffer the pain of your condition, but on the other hand, I'm extremely upset at the fact that you are not here to celebrate and enjoy what we worked and fought so hard to achieve." Oh man. Yeah, this wow. Yeah, this really hit hard for a lot of people in the hip hop community. This really hit hard to every single person, and yeah, it's unfortunate, man. You know what I'm saying? It's very unfortunate, and you never really, you never really want anything bad to happen to a person that you care for. So that's just, man, man, and yeah, that right there sounds very terrible in a sense, but look, you know, stuff like this happens all the time. You just gotta take care of ourselves, our health, that stuff right there. Um, that's just a big blow right there. You know what I mean? And that could be scary too, man. Let's see. There's more. There's more. Um, there is more. Post Newells shared his own tribute, calling Trugoy the heart of our group. You brought so much creativity, energy, and passion to our music, and your influence will be felt for years to come, he wrote. Your passing is a great loss, not only to us, but also to the entire hip hop community. You were a true artist who used music to inspire and uplift others, and you will be deeply missed by all who knew you. This is heavy on our hearts and minds, but we are smiling and even laughing at all the great times we shared with you. As we attempt to navigate this world without you, we stand grateful and proud of all you accomplished on this earth, he added. Post notes concluded, we would like to say thank you, Dave, for being a big brother. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for the wise words placed in your verses. Thank you for the music you produce that is loved by so many. Thank you for never wanting to compromise the quality of our brand. Thank you for helping us become a group that will remain etched in the timeline of hip hop culture as well as the fabric of music. Yeah, so SIP, Sleep in Paradise to Trugoy from De La Soul, all right? Also in terrible news that's not so well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say not so tragic, but it's also terrible too. So unfortunately, we have a business that many of you probably familiar with is Party City. Ah man. Party City has filed for bankruptcy, but is not going out of business. The purveyor of balloons, costumes, and party supplies is hoping this will let it shed its heavy debt. Damn, damn. Another business that's going out of business. That's crazy though, man. That's crazy. And of course, sorry to the people that's being laid off. That's really terrible in a sense. So, man, yes, Lunar New Year, Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras, for a range of holiday celebrations, kids, and grown up parties. Americans have shopped at Party City, but this purveyor of balloons, costumes, and party supplies has filed for bankruptcy. Yeah. NPR's Alina um, S- Selyukha Sayuk explains. Um, Years ago, Party City held big promise. The stuff it sells didn't used to have a ton of competition. Um, you boo you only at Party City. Vampire teeth, party hats, wigs, and streamers. A vast selection of fairly cheap items, unmatched by other stores. Things that people like to buy in person, not online. Um, shop shop Party City for Valentine's Day, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, biggest St. Patrick's Day sale ever, but little by little competition stacked up. Joe Feldman is an analyst at Telsey Advisory Group. Joe Feldman. I mean, there's a lot of other places you can get party supplies, whether it's at Walmart or Target or Amazon or the dollar store or even the grocers. Now, even Home Depot is in the giant plastic skeleton game, not to mention Spirit Halloween, chomping at Party City's most important season. Halloween, be flirty, be scary, thousands of styles. Add to that some peculiar challenges of a party store, like the helium shortage, a global problem that just won't go away for years now, making Party City's big balloon business a bit of a trick. Then things got really dicey during the slamdemic. Social gathering really ground to a halt for like 2 years, right? More like 3 years. Party City is the place you go for social gathering supplies. These days, inflation is the latest scare. People have been looking a bit more closely at their party budgets. And through it all, Party City has been carrying a big burden, almost $2 billion in debt. Ooh, $2 billion in debt. That's wow. 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 $2 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot though. Um, yeah, that's a lot. Um, and that's why it's filed for bankruptcy to get its debt under control. This story has played out with many once unrivaled chains. Toys R Us is an example. Neiman Marcus, J. Crew. David Silverman is a senior director at Fitch Ratings, listing off some notable bankruptcies of recent years. This traces back to the mid 2000s when private equity firms swept through the retail world, taking prominent companies private in so called leverage buyouts, loading them up with debt. The plan is for the companies to grow and use the cash flow to pay down debt, and that just simply hasn't happened in the case of Party City. And a little clarification, um, to be clear, Party City is not going out of business, it's its sagging sales have made its debt untenable. Silverman says the good news is that the company does seem to have a clear plan, a deal not only to restructure and shed some debt, but also an infusion of money to stay open through the bankruptcy. The the company has more than 800 stores and seems to suggest that it may close at least a couple dozens of them. The big question is whether it will stop there. Well, remains to be seen, man. You know what I'm saying? Remains to be seen. That right there is just crazy. That's crazy, you know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, that's crazy, man. You know what that closure not only reminds me of, not just Toys R Us, but it reminds me of when Modell's on Jamaica Avenue closed down as well, which is a shame because Modell's was the main store in the Green Acres Mall years ago. Now you don't see that anymore. And that really sucks because it's not even about the competition. It's more like what's going on with what's going on financially. That's kind of hard to bear, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And in other terrible news, eggs cost more than ground beef. What's that about? Let's get into that one right here, man. Wait a minute here. Eggs cost more than ground beef? Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, um, unfortunately, let me see, man. Of course. Okay, so the price of dozens of eggs in the U.S. exceeded the cost of a pound of ground beef. The global bird flu has wiped out about 100 million poultry, and high production costs have pushed the price of a carton of 12 eggs to a record $4.82 in January, up from less than $2 a year earlier. Meanwhile, the price of a pound of ground chuck has fallen to $4.64 from a 2022 peak of $5.12 last August. Ooh. Wow. All right. Let's see. Yes. So, this is from all that shit though, man. I'm not even gonna really get into this. Yes, and this is from OC Register, Orange County Register website. So, U.S. chicken producers also are trying to do their part to bring down egg prices by selling 4 million surplus eggs to food producers. First, they have to convince the FDA to change the rule that prevents eggs laid by chickens in the meat industry to be used for human consumption. The National Chicken Council Trade Group submitted a formal petition to the Food and Drug Administration Thursday, asking officials to drop a rule passed in 2009 that keeps chicken producers from selling their excess eggs because they aren't refrigerated right away. Oof. Oh boy. Oof. That has to fucking suck right there, man. That has to fucking suck. It really, really, really does, though, man. That really has to suck, though, man. That has to suck. Um, yeah, it's a hassle. I can tell you that much. It's a fucking hassle for people who work at supermarkets and other places. So that right there is crazy. So I'm just gonna be man. So well, oh boy. And And no, this right there sounds okay. So he's in the first place. Refrigerated. Wait, so it's been refrigerated right away. Okay, so the FDA said it would review the Chicken Council's petition and respond directly to that group. But concerns about food safety are what drove them to adopt the rule that prohibited the sale of the eggs in the first place. When a broiler hatchery produces eggs, they are kept at 65 degrees until they are ready to be placed in incubators to be hatched. The FDA said in its rule that eggs that are going to be used for food need to be stored at temperatures below 45 degrees within 36 hours. The Chicken Council said it believes the eggs would be safe because they would be pasteurized before they were used by food producers. Hmm. Yeah, man. Okay, so also what's going on here is um an Italian restaurant in New Jersey, right? Decides to ban um 10 children under 10. Oh boy. So here's what's happening here. A Tinton Falls, New Jersey restaurant is fed up. Nettie's House of Spaghetti, which describes itself as a red sauce joint serving elevated nostalgia, has had it with crazy messes and kids running around their restaurant. As a result, they've decided to ban children under 10 years old starting next month. Nettie's made the announcement on its social media accounts last week, and their post has since made the rounds on the internet. Um, We love kids. We really truly do. But lately, it's been extremely challenging to accommodate children at Nettie's. Between noise levels, lack of space for high chairs, cleaning up crazy messes, and the liability of kids running around the restaurant, we have decided that it's time to take control of the situation. This wasn't a decision that was made lightly, but some recent events have pushed us to implement this new policy, the announcements read. They added that the new policy will likely upset a number of people, but they believe this is the right decision for our business moving forward. While some commenters are upset by the restaurant's decision, Nettie's has received a great deal of support. In fact, some of their supporters are even parents of young children. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's really wild right there. That's really wild right there, man. Yeah. Um, about a half dozen people have sent me this post in the last 24 hours, expecting me to be outraged because number one, Nettie's is our favorite restaurant. Two, we have a 3-year-old daughter. I'm definitely not outraged and agree with Nettie's 1000%. We've never even considered taking our toddler to Nettie's. We want to enjoy our fucking dinner. We need a breather and assume everyone else there feels the same. User mini dot castave wrote under Nettie's Instagram post. On the plus side, at least this ban is better than a screaming children's surcharge. Hmm. Okay. Um. Let me see if any. I don't know if any. Nah. Nobody actually is outraged off of this. Nah. Some people gotta do what they gotta do. And you have, speaking of doing what you have to do, let's see what else we have to talk about in this episode. Here is okay. Let's start off with the weekend. I didn't get a chance to talk about him breaking records in the previous episode because of time consumption. So the weekend breaks all time records on Spotify. So Let's get into it right here. Let's get into it right here. Okay, so the weekend, and this is from Music Feeds, the website. The weekend breaks all-time record for Spotify monthly listeners. The weekend has set a new record for the most monthly listeners on Spotify, raking in more than 100 million per month. He's well clear of his closest competitors, Miley Cyrus, who sits in second place on the monthly rankings, only brings in a paltry 82.5 million listeners. The achievement comes barely 2 months after the weekend's song Blinding Lights became the most streamed song ever on Spotify, with a casual 3.334 billion streams at the time the record was broken in early January. Ed Sheeran previously held the record with Shape of You, sitting at around 3.332 billion streams when the weekend him by passed him by. Earlier this week, the weekend um dropped a new remix of his 2016 track Die For You, which has seen a bump in popularity recently due to TikTok. It features his previous collaborator Ariana Grande. The two last teamed up on a remix of the weekend's After Hours single, Save Your Tears. That remix roared up the Billboard charts to number one, so it's understandable the Canadian artist wishes to repeat the formula. Outside of Spotify records, it hasn't exactly been a stellar week for the weekend, having come under fire for his role on HBO's new series, The Idol. Directed by Euphoria's Sam Levinson, the production has been accused of being torture porn by sources in an extensive article in Rolling Stone. The Idol stars the weekend um as a cult leader who starts a relationship with a young pop singer played by Lily Rose Depp. The Weeknd responded to the article by tweeting a clip from the show in which he called Rolling Stone irrelevant. Yeah, that would be, yeah, yeah. I don't really blame him. Um, I don't really blame him. You know what I'm saying? And also speaking of the idol, no, hold on. Speaking of the idol, so the Weekend and HBO have released the official trailer for the original series, the original concert series, no concert special, The Weekend live at SoFi Stadium, which already premiered on Saturday, February 25th on HBO and streaming on HBO Max. The concert was recorded in Los Angeles at the concluding dates of the weekend's 2022 After Hours Till Dawn tour, North American Stadium tour, and focuses on hits from his two most recent studio albums, After Hours and Dawn FM. The tour continues overseas later this year, along with hits including Starboy, Blinding Lights, Can't Feel My Face, I Feel It Coming, and others. The 95-minute special captures the elaborate set that the weekend traveled across the country for the stadium tour, which featured dozens of dancers, lasers, pyrotechnics, and more. The special arrives in advance of the weekend's forthcoming HBO series, The Idol, expected later this year. Um, The Weekend live at SoFi Stadium was directed by Mika Bickham and produced by Contrast Films, executive produced by The Weekend, Lamar C. Taylor, Jordy Wax, and Mika Bickham, co-executive produced by Aaron Cook. The tour was a crucial, excuse me, a critical and commercial success, although its first and final dates were marred by unexpected issues. The original opening date, July 8th, in the weekend's hometown of Toronto, was postponed after a day-long countrywide outage of the Rogers wireless network presented too many challenges for the tour to proceed. It was rescheduled for the end of the tour. However, the original closing date at SoFi Stadium had to be postponed after the Weeknd lost his voice in the show's first minutes. That show was rescheduled for 6 weeks later, which meant that the entire set had to be hauled back across the continent to Toronto and then back to Los Angeles. However, two concerts were performed during those Toronto and Los Angeles dates instead of one, which presumably lessened the financial impact of the rescheduling. All right, so all right, let's make some noise for the Weekend for breaking records on Spotify and all the other stuff. And I don't blame the Weekend for not really caring about Rolling Stone. He says it's irrelevant and shit like that, but let's make some noise for him, man, and his success though. And of course, being on TV for his show The Idol. Okay. Okay, one moment. Okay, one moment. Okay, up next, what we have here is, of course, let's see. Yes, let's talk Nia Long. Let's talk Nia Long for a sec. Um, okay, let's talk Nia Long for a sec. Okay, so, um, all right, so beloved actress Nia Long sat down with the cut for their latest cover story. The newly single star opened up a bit about her recent split from longtime partner, family life, and being overlooked for roles in Hollywood. Surprisingly, Long mentioned not even being in the conversation for the recent Avatar sequel, The Way of Water, starring Zoe Saldana. I felt passed over on things for sure. The You People and the Best Man Actress Express. There have definitely been moments like, why wasn't I considered for that? Like, why wasn't I considered for Avatar? I think Zoe's amazing, but I wasn't even a topic of discussion. Speaking about how Hollywood works at times, she added, a lot of times, to be fair, directors know in their minds who they want. It's happened to me, and for it's not happened for me. I would love to do a film like Avatar because I'm really a fan and obsessed. I would even do a supporting role in a film like that because it's so magical and beautiful, and there are so many lessons and a connection to Mother Nature, humanity, and race. I just think it's fantastical. Per deadline, Avatar: The Way of Water is currently trailing behind Titanic 3D with over $2,213.5 billion in the box office sales, less than $4 million away from beating out the latter. Clearly, Avatar would have been a huge win for either Saldana or Long as the lead character. Naturi. Hmm. Yeah. All right. So let's. Um. All right. Okay. Let me see what else. Oh. All right. Having already cemented her footprint in Black Hollywood with films like Soul Food, Big Mama's House, and Are We There Yet? There's no harm in the 52-year-old wanting bigger roles outside of what we've seen her do already. She's recently starred in the aforementioned Netflix film You People, starring Lauren London, Jonah Hill, and Eddie Murphy, and the box office movie The Missing, which Long says made her insecure about starring in. The Missing was not easy because it was so technical, she said. I didn't understand where the cameras were, so every cinematic rule I know to be true didn't apply. But I loved it because actors after a while come with our big bag of tricks. And you rely on those things. I had to feel a little insecure in this film, which worked for the storyline. Um In contrast, working on You People with Murphy was an accomplishment for her. When he comes on set, you put your shoulders back and just get ready. Long said about finally working with an icon and one of our heroes. She added, he's the best to ever do it. That was such a big cast that you do the work and keep moving. You are not wasting a lot of time. Further in her cover, Long touched on still being sensitive about speaking on her recent breakup with um um Ime Udoka, but loving how people rallied around her. That saved my life, she added about the support she received. It saved my mental well being because I felt uplifted by the community in a way that felt like my family was checking in and making sure I was okay. And that I appreciated. She added, I have that for people like Beyonce. I look at her and I'm so proud of her because I know how difficult it is to sustain and manage everything she has in her life. My life is probably a smaller version of that. Black women that are dynamic and famous and dare to inspire are also required to be exceptional. And sometimes I just get tired of being strong. That's my biggest thing. I don't want to have to be strong. I would like to just have an experience that's pleasant. Yeah, that's pretty understandable. That's understandable right here though, man. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's okay to not be okay. You know what I'm saying? She's a human being just like everybody else that has mental health, you know, difficulties in their life, the difficult challenges, the difficult obstacles. Yeah, that could really be a burden to carry, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I do like the idea that she actually spoke up about this. So, you know what I mean? So, I actually I actually do agree with her with I do agree with her with I do agree with her with the things she said. So yes. Okay. We got two more topics to talk about here actually. Um we're gonna start with Jim Jones. Okay, so um And this is from Hip Hop DX, one of my favorite sites to look for topics. Um, Jim Jones has hinted at a TV series that chronicles the early days of the Diplomats before they rose to fame in hip hop. During a conversation on DJ Self's um, um, app 5H talk show, um, Capo revealed he's flirting with the idea of developing a Dipset series that would focus on the Harlem Crew's pre-fame beginnings. Um, you got a talk show. I'm about to give you the Dipset 5H TV series. Jim told DJ Self. I think I'm gonna do that because the shit that went on in 5H before we became the players we were, you niggas need to see. He had it. We was reckless, young, dumb, and stupid, but we was having a ball. Oh man, that's crazy. Um, the Diplomats were formed in the mid 1990s with its original members Cameron, Jim Jones, and Freaky Zeke, who all grew up together in Harlem. Joel Santana would join later on in 1999, and from there, their group took off, landing a record deal with Jay-Z's Rockefeller Records in 2001. The rest is history, as this set would become one of the most successful and influential rap groups of all time, thanks to both their solo and collective output, not to mention their iconic fashion and swagger. This isn't the first time one of the diplomats had hinted at making a TV show or documentary on the group. Last May, during the celebration for the 20th anniversary of his Come Home With Me album, Cameron spoke about doing a Dipset movie. However, he revealed he wasn't exactly bowled over by the deals that were offered to him and his band of brothers by production companies. They offered us deals before or offered me deals as well. I'd rather shoot it with my money, my way. Cam said during a Q&A session with media personality Wayno. They'll come to you like, yo, we'll give you a percentage of the Diplomat movie. And I'm like, okay, what's the percentage? And they're like, well, we'll give you 10, 15%. He added, how you going to give me 10% of my story? That shit don't even make that shit don't even be making no sense to me sometimes. I'm like, I'll fund it and y'all take the 10% and do distribution, but they are not used to niggas. They're not used to niggas talking to them like that. Well, yeah. Yeah, it's understandable, man. You know what I'm saying? It's really understandable that you don't want you don't want to be taken advantage of when it comes to distribution deals and shit, man. And and sometimes there's some deals that don't make sense. And that's why I try to explain to a homeboy of mine who recently was on episode 170 that it has to make sense. I'm not gonna just go ahead and take a random network distribution or whatever if it don't make any sense and if it doesn't match um my vision, if it doesn't match my vision and everything that I'm talking about as far as topics is concerned, then I'm not gonna do it because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense though. Like that shit is not right though. It's like you're taking away a person's story and who they are as a person. And I am nowhere trying to be a sellout to anybody, man. And I'm not gonna do that just because of some fancy deals. No, I'm not doing that. That's not happening. I'd rather be I'd rather be original, organic, and let things happen naturally rather than me doing all this extra shit. Like it don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? So so big ups to Jim Jones and the Diplomats for making sure that they do things um the way they have their ideas and vision. So I have to applaud them for that one right there, man. That's pretty dope though, man. You know what I mean? So I know I said there's two topics, but um there's actually one to two topics to go that we have to talk about here. And this is the highlights of the New York Fashion Week that happened. So this is the highlights. So when it comes to New York Fashion Week, it has often take a back it has often taken a backseat to its overseas counterparts in Paris and Milan. This is largely due to the absence of many of the biggest luxury brands that exclusively show in Europe. And while New York may not be able to promise a presentation from Louis Vuitton or Dior in the near future, it has become a great destination to get a glimpse at the designers who will be shaping the fashion industry for years to come. And this is from Complex, in case you're wondering. There were plenty of noteworthy presentations this year. Um, Heron Preston delivered a love letter to the hustle and bustle of New York City, who decides war fittingly highlighted some of the city's iconic hip hop groups, the Rough Riders and Diplomats, as the genre celebrates its 50th anniversary. Kalina Strada crafted a zoo like experience that transformed models into various mammals. Tofik Jacobs, head of state, told us a thoughtful story about his upbringing in Lagos. And Raul Lopez proved once again why Loire is worthy of closing out New York Fashion Week with a show honoring the powerful women he grew up observing. Yeah, so there's a list of people. Okay, so inside a gutted out lobby on 60th Avenue, Haran Preston kicked off his first official New York Fashion Week presentation by spray painting blue, red, white, and orange lines on a concrete floor with a crew of safety vest clad road markers. The spray painted lines almost resemble the look of a New York City subway map, an apt image to reference, considering that Preston told Complex shortly before the show that the MCA and taking the train was one of the biggest inspirations as a designer. As models weaved past each other while following their respective spray painted paths, it became apparent that Preston had magically recreated the hustle and bustle of New York City's mass transit hubs. The subway has been the most um, democratic runway in New York City, and Preston's garments dressed all of its characters. The blue collar construction workers walked in with their denim carpenter pants and heavy canvas jackets. Meanwhile, security guards clocking out after an overnight shift were still dressed in their branded utility vests and caps, chainmail like bras, and leather barbed wire chokers worn by models dressed as downtown club girls would have fit perfectly in trash and vaudeville stockroom, vaudeville's stockroom. Naturally, a walk through the New York subterranean ecosystem wouldn't be complete without someone stepping out of a train with an oversized ski jacket and ski goggles to boot. Overall, Preston's latest celebrated the eclectic eccentricity New York's day to day street style is known for. And while his latest doesn't feel as closely aligned to the city's heartbeat as his revered collaboration with the department ostentation, it managed to capture the stylish spontaneity, spontaneity, excuse me, we all love about New York. That particularly arrived when the New York-based videographer Justin Mariano, who recently filmed Preston upcycling garbage for show invites, appeared as a mask-clad man meandering around the runway with an old VHS camera before suddenly walking in the show. Did that random kid just crash the show? Someone next to me asked. No, but honestly, I wasn't so sure myself. But who's sure about anything in New York? Lei Takanashi. Who decides war? Church was in session at Who Decides Wars Fall 2023 presentation, which was held inside a synagogue that was over 170 years old in the Lower East Side. It was clear that the label's most devout followers arrived for EV Bravado and Antila Diamor's seasonal congregation. Cars were barely able to exit Norfolk Street after dozens of disciples dressed top to bottom Who Decides Wars denim crowded the entrance to the show. Attendees included local celebs like the Brooklyn rap star Jay Critch, who sat directly in front of an icy sculpture of New York's skyline melting in the middle of the room, titled Politics as Usual. Who Decides Wars Fall 2023 collection served as an OD to New York City and its music icons. The show properly kicked it off with a look that spotlighted the label's distressed denim alongside an aged leather jacket that was paired with a graphic t-shirt and belt made in collaboration with the Diplomats. Naturally, Diplomat members Jim Jones and Joel Santana looked ecstatic while seeing this look in the front row. But aside from a t-shirt commemorating the Rough Riders, the collection leaned less on collaborations and more on the label's divine motives. And embroid- embroideries inspired by stained glass windows covered both denim jackets and down jackets made by the Italian outerwear label Ad, and different iterations of lancet church windows appeared as 3D pockets on parachute leather skirts, nylon puffer pullovers, and as cutout patterns on a Victorian era inspired hoop skirt that closed out the show. Each season, Bravado and D'Amore have continued to build on a label that's inspired by contemporary New York while also creating garments that offer a youthful take on American couture. Head of state, um, Taufik Abbey Jacobs started head of state in his New York City bedroom when he was just 17 years old. But for his latest collection, the now 24-year-old decided to take things back even further to his upbringing in Nigeria. More specifically, the collection titled Memories of Home harkened back to a journey his father took from Lagos to Spain before he was granted a U.S. visa. The looks took cues from memories his father shared with him about the journey. Certain silhouettes channeled the traditional Nigerian wardrobe, uh, but were given a modern twist. An orange suit with an asymmetrical lapel was a nod to West African soil. Pants were given a crackled finish to reference architecture, architect, architecture in Lagos. Other Other looks included white dresses with sheer sleeves and structured skirts that almost resembled flower petals. Boxy button-up shirts were given an iguana-like scaly texture. The color blue was meant to evoke water and used to color cropped suits with corset-like tailoring. Other button-up featured abstract imagery by artist Ambrose Rhapsody Murray that gave viewers a more concrete representation of the story Abby Jacob aimed to tell. The show's most memorable moment came toward the finale as a model in a white dress stepped into a glass box. It's disintegrated to reveal a swimsuit as water dosed her. Head of State's latest collection proves that sometimes you don't need to look too far for inspiration. You can always find comfort going back home. Boy. And of course, there's some others that's included, which includes Sandy Lang, Liang, Willie Chavaria, um, Laquan Smith, Eckhouse Lotta, Luar, Kalina Strada, Tom Brown. Yeah, that's your highlights of New York Fashion Week. All right. So now finally we go to our last topic of the night. Last topic of the night is Fat Joe and Papoose defending Eminem. I'll fill you in on why. So Fat Joe and Papoose may hold Melly Mel in high regard, but they don't agree with his recent criticism of Eminem. The Furious Five MC questions Slim Shady's number 5 ranking on Billboard's top 50 greatest rappers of all time list during an interview with The Art of Dialogue last week, arguing he's only considered a top tier rapper because he's white. Obviously, he's a capable rapper. If you was talking about sales, he sold more than everybody. If you talking about rhyme style, okay, he got a rhyme style, Melly Mel said. But he's white. If Eminem was just another nigga like all the rest of us, would he be top 5 on that list when a nigga that can rhyme just as good as him is number 35? If he was a black rapper, he wouldn't even make the list probably. Chewing over his comments on Instagram Live on Monday, March 6th, Joey Crack and Papoose respectfully disagreed with Melly Mel, claiming that Eminem's lyrical talents are undisputed, regardless of his race. I disagree with that because even though Eminem is Caucasian, you cannot front on his skill set, man. You can't deny that skill set, Pap said, to which Joe replied, no way. As much as I love and worship Melly Mel, I think he's wrong with this one, the Terror Squad leader added. Yeah, I would actually agree with that too, man. I would actually agree with that. Um, okay. Yeah. It just goes to show don't underestimate somebody based on their race, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So despite their difference of opinion, Papoose and Fat Joe made sure to give Melly Mel his flowers, saluting him for being a hip hop pioneer. Listen, I love Melly Mel. He's the originator of his style. He's amazing lyrically. I still listen to The Message, and I know Melly Mel. Papoose said, I look up to him, man. He's a legend. I could go on and on about the respect that I have for him. Joe added, he's probably my icon. He's one of my top 10. However, Papoose reaffirmed his belief that Eminem belongs in the upper echelon of rap greats, saying lyrically dudes are still not touching Melly Mel, but honestly, that skill set that boy Slim Shady got, you can't. Nah, man. Fat Joe and Papoose are from the only figures to have reacted to Melly Mel's controversial comments. Eminem's close friend, 50 Cent, issued a less diplomatic response on Instagram this past weekend, telling his hip hop forefather to get the fuck out of here. Oh, man. Oh, man. Melly Mel, okay, I get that he's a legend, but come on, man. You can't dismiss the fact that Eminem's a legend too, man. And yeah, you can't dismiss that. And why does everything when it comes to being on the charts like Billboard or whatever, why does everything gotta be about race, man? Like, come on, man. Like, seriously? Seriously though? And then you wonder why you end up being in hot water for that controversial comment. Okay, oh shit. There was more money selling dope than being in hip hop when Melly Mel was popping. The culture has grown so much, 50 wrote in a since deleted post. I am not sure if it would be what it is today without artists like Eminem. He added, shit, I'm not sure I would be who I am without him, but it is competitive, so niggas gonna hate. Oh, laugh out loud. Fuck out of here. We sucker free. Chuck D, meanwhile, defended Melly Mel from the backlash by providing a little more context to his comments for younger listeners. Understand Melly Mel was so dominant over the rest of the pack in the first 5 years of records. It's hard to comprehend for born after MC folk. The public enemy legend tweeted. It's why I call him Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt had a crate of critiques for the rappers after him, including me. Just let Mel be Wilt. He's not. He's no Wilt Chamberlain, man. Wilt Chamberlain is a basketball player, a former basketball player, former NBA basketball player. That's a different story than Melly Mel. You know what I mean? That's totally different, man. And that would that to me, I don't know, man. That sounds like a fucking epic fail to me, man. To say some shit like that, man. I'm sorry, but that sounds like an epic fail to me, man. You know what I'm saying? That is an epic fail right there. That is an epic fail. And I don't know, man. I don't know about all that though, man. To be honest with you, that right there is just plain ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Why would you even say that? Yeah, I get what Chuck D is going with this, but the whole Wilt Chamberlain shit, though, man. I don't know about all that, man. First of all, first of all, first of all, do you even know how tall Wilt Chamberlain is compared to Melly Mel? Like, seriously, do we have to even compare the height? Oh man, dude. Oh my gosh, man. Like seriously, damn. So there's some people who chimed in on Hip Hop DX, um, the website. So I'm gonna go through the comments right here. So old man Melly Mel has gotten more attention recently for gossiping than anything he's done musically in decades. Of course, and another person says, of course, when there's anti-white discussions going on, Chuck D pops up. Melly Mel is a racist, basically. The message is a little before my time, but I always assumed Grandmaster Flash did the vocals and Melly Mel was the DJ. I mean, what solo hits has Melly Mel had? I can't name any. I legit thought he was a DJ or a producer. Back in those days, non-rapping group members still got group billing, hence the human beatbox and Master Jam Master J. Laugh out loud. Another person says, "You thought Grandmaster Flash was the rapper? Man, you definitely retarded." Oh wow, wow! Oh my gosh. Okay, wow, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny, man. Another person says the famous song White Lines is by Melly Mel and the Furious Five, although credited to Grandmaster Flash. The label released it as Grandmaster Melly Mel, but Grandmaster Flash had long since departed. Melly Mel has had hits. It's not let's not play around. White Lines by Melly Mel, even though credited to Grandmaster Flash. Another person says Melly Mel is having a senior moment. We must understand he's so old he must be demented by now. Dude is a fucking dinosaur already. No, dude is a dinosaur, all right? Somebody need to change his diet path. He saw himself, he make duty. Melly Mel's so old he can't control his bowels or bladder. He got pee pee and duty all over, all up in that diaper. Nurse need to change Melly Mel diaper. Oh shit, that's funny. That's fucking funny, man. I can't help it. Um, Another person says he's totally right. If Eminem was black, he won't be so famous because he's not that good of a rapper compared to his black counterparts. He's maybe average at best. Man, kill that fucking noise with that bullshit comment. Another person says being under Dre's umbrella, he would still be outselling fools. The fuck you on about cornball? He's totally right. If Eminem was black, he won't be so famous because he's not that. Yeah. You're a moron for that shit, though. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The Wilt Chamberlain comparison though, nah, man. You can't really compare, man. You cannot compare You cannot compare Melly Mel to Wilt Chamberlain. I'm sorry. You really can't do that. First and foremost, Wilt Chamberlain is a legendary basketball player, okay? He doesn't rap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not so sure what that comparison was about though, but I'm not gonna hold you, but that just sounds like a weird, funny comparison right there, man. To be honest with you, I'm not even gonna hold you. First of all, if you really want to know the difference between heights and stuff, let's get into it. How tall is Melly Mel? Okay, so Melly Mel. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second here. Let's get into um let me see. Let me see. I want to get to his height. So he is wait a second here. I want to actually get to his height actually. Um let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. Um yeah, his height. No, 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 no. Wait, 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 wait. Yeah. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so I'm about to get into it right here. So his height. Let's get into his height though, man. You know what I'm saying? His height, his height, his height. He's 5'9". Melly Mel is 5'9". All right. He's 5'9". And Wilt Chamberlain, Wilt Chamberlain, Wilt Chamberlain height is he's 7'1". So that means look, man, I had to do a little comparison before I wrap up because um it's just to make a point that you can't really compare the two. Hang on a minute. Let me just make my point here. Okay. Folks, you can't compare Melly Mel and Wilt Chamberlain. Chuck D made a weird fucking comparison, okay? You cannot compare those two. Those two do different shit. Right? These two do different shit though. I just wanted to put it out there that there's no way you can actually compare, man. And as far as Eminem, aka Slim Shady, listen, the guy's a legend, all right? The man got hits. Okay? The man got hits. Like you can't knock the man from Detroit who also was in the 8 Mile movie, by the way, and everything else he's done. You know what I'm saying? He not only is an artist, but he also is a producer. He also um has a name, has a name, Shea 45 named after him, which is also acquired by Sirius XM, of course. And on top of that, you really have to understand that he accomplished more than Melly Mel. Melly Mel's 60, it's in his 60s. He's not doing music anymore. If anything, you gotta know that Eminem is like what? I know he previously I know he's more behind the scenes as a producer and all that other stuff, but I don't know, man. I feel like Eminem is more relevant now than Melly Mel per se. So you can't compare those two, okay? You cannot compare those two. There's no way in the hell you would actually call Melly Mel Wilt Chamberlain, okay? There's no way. You know what I'm saying? That shit is ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous comparison I ever heard in my life, man. To be honest with you. Anyway, man, I'm going to actually wrap this up right here, man. So listen, I'm gonna wrap this up right here, and we're gonna go into another segment right here in regards to stream choices on the go, man. And let us know in the comments on how you feel about that comparison that Chuck D said to about Wilt Chamberlain. Like, and you know what? I'm gonna come up with a question for this one right here though. So after I get off the air. So here we go. Stream choices on the go. Stream choices on the go. Let's go. All right. You want to be a supporter? You can do that by showing your love by following Off the Meat Rack Chainz New York podcast on Facebook and Instagram, alongside with my with the other two shows that I do, which is the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, and alongside with Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, the review show that I also do as well. And make sure you follow your homie right here, your host with the most, G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York, and turn your notifications so you can be in the know on when I'm going to be on Instagram Live on not only this podcast show page on Instagram Live, but other separate podcast show pages that I do on weekly podcast episode recordings on a weekly basis. And for any postponements and anything like that, I'll let you know. So turn your reminders and all that other stuff right there. So there you have it right there. And of course, go to the link in bio where it says Linktree/G Money Stacks 555, where you see all the audio streaming platforms that you can download to your iPhones, your Android phones, iPads, Android tablets, Mac laptops, and Dell laptops with Windows on there. You can download these apps onto your laptops. And speaking of laptops, you can also leave a voice message on anchor.fm/gmoneystacks/message. And speaking of Anchor, that's what we're going to start with right here. So Anchor, Audacity, Audible, Audio Burst, Amazon Music, Breaker, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podbay, Podfriend, Podhound, Podopolo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, the number one app for music, radio, and podcast. And you don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio or any of the apps right there. And of course, be sure to follow my other two shows, including this one right here, the New York podcast show right here, and my sports podcast show, which is Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. And alongside with Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast review show, on there, I will be dropping off episode 117 after I get off the air. So, and of course, finally, make sure you grab that subscribe button for me on the YouTube channel page of G Money Stacks 555. And do the same with my other YouTube channel pages of Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast and Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the sports channel page. I just recorded episode 58. It should be uploaded and running on Thursday. And of course, click on the noti bell along with alerts so you can be reminded on when the show is going to be on the air via live stream, along with leaving a like and a comment along with the topics that's being discussed, and of course be able and of course be sure to download these episodes, your favorite episodes, and listen, stream, and watch the episodes in case you miss any of the episodes. Don't you worry, everything's all there. And of course, be sure to share the episodes, share the videos. Stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes and previous episodes, whatsoever. Tell a friend to another friend. Spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And of course, be sure to share the link that says Linktree/G Money Stacks 555 alongside with the podcast with your husbands, your wives, your girlfriends, boyfriends, friends, people you are cool with from work, whether it's at whether it's at festivities, carnivals, events, block parties, birthday parties, wherever place and spot where you meet new people, all right? So there you have it right there. That's gonna do it for me. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Thank you so much for listening to episode 244, Party City. And of course, remember the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. New York wasn't built in a day. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. And of course, like I always say, be sure to not only follow your goals and dreams, but don't let anybody stop you from doing what you love. Be yourself, be you, be the best you can be, especially find something that clicks to you. Be comfortable with your voice, find your voice, be comfortable with how your voice sounds, and of course, be sure to be on your P's and Q's on a consistency basis, creatively, mentally, physically, and spiritually. That gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision, all right? So that's gonna do it. And remember to switch your clocks forward to an hour ahead. This weekend coming up. Switch your time 1 hour ahead forward on your watches, your computers, your laptops, wherever, so you don't miss out on going to work or anything like that whatsoever. So don't forget to switch your clocks forward. So there you go, right there. And yeah, and be careful, stay safe, stay liquid, be you, be comfortable in your voice, do what you love that makes you happy, and don't let the haters stop you from doing what you love to do creatively. And of course, you don't, and in the words of Ivy Rivera, as I'm paraphrasing this, you have to validate yourself. You don't need haters to validate you, because they're not supporting you in your career choices. All right? So screw the fucking haters. You don't need them. They don't support you. And you just be around those who morally support you. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it, man. I'm off this shit. Thank you very much. I'll see y'all next time in the next episode. Peace and one love. Set your clocks forward to an hour ahead this weekend. Don't forget to do that. Peace and one love. Good night, everybody.